Dudes, one of the hardest things about getting to where we want to be in fitness and in life is setting the right types of goals. Now, I'm Josh, I'm a clinical psychologist, I'm a natural bodybuilder, and I'm a professor of psychology, and I want to help you get to where you want to be by setting the right type of goal. So, if you're a beginner or intermediate fitness enthusiast, here is a rundown of 5 types of goals that you can set. 4 are helpful, 1 not so helpful. Stay tuned to the end for that one. Let's get to it. Alrighty, so for our first goal, I think this one is the most beginner friendly. These are open goals and these are going to help keep you from burning out. Now, I say beginner friendly, but these are also going to be helpful for advanced people who are used to setting goals and keeping really long streaks. Now, these types of goals aren't going to require a hard ceiling. Some examples of these goals: I'm going to lift for 30 minutes today, or I'm going to see how many times I can go for a walk today. And I say that they're helpful for beginners and advanced individuals because if you're a beginner, one of the hardest things is the startup. So if you can shrink a goal and you can make it the most manageable, that is going to help set you up to get a streak of these goals accomplished, which is going to build momentum, which is going to build confidence. And if you're an advanced person, these open goals are going to be helpful whenever life gets really stressful. Now, for me, I'm doing lots of things throughout the week. I'm teaching, I have clients, I'm training, I'm trying to make these videos, trying to spend time with my family. So shifting some of my identity-based goals, more on that later, some of my process-oriented goals, more on that later, is going to be something I have to do. I'm going to have to set some open goals that sort of act as this backstop for when I can't hit all my process goals for the week. So open-ended goals are going to help you either gain some motivation or create a way for you to keep momentum up if you're an advanced individual. So one last example of this: if you are traveling for a week, plan to move for 20 minutes a day. And if you're an advanced person and you're coming off a long mesocycle and you're in your deload week, maybe you run one open session where you just do fun lifts and have 2 more structured sessions after that. That way you don't have as much pressure on yourself. Number 2 type of goal, somewhat helpful, and these are outcome goals. I think these are the types of goals that people naturally think about whenever they are beginning to set goals. I want to run a 5K. I want to compete and place XYZ in a bodybuilding show, and so on and so forth. So the cool thing about outcome goals is that they set the direction, they can create momentum, but they are not going to keep you moving from day to day. They are so broad that they don't help you zoom in on the day-to-day actions that you need to be doing to accomplish where you're going to go. Another thing to consider is that depending on the type of outcome goal that we set, we might not be able to reach it. You can't control your placings in a bodybuilding show. You maybe can't control how fast you run a 5K. And so by focusing on strict outcomes, you might set yourself up for failure. So the way we combat this is we flip it into a process goal. So instead of focusing on, like, let's say lose 8 pounds in 10 weeks, we shift it to, I'm going to train 4 days this week. I'm going to eat between 1,900 and 2,000 calories, and I'm going to get no less than 8,000 steps. This flips it from outcome somewhere down the line into a day-to-day process. So very helpful. Flip from outcome to process. Now, I teased this and brought it up in the last goal, but the third type of goal is a process or behavioral goal. And these are actions you can control day to day and you can repeat them. Now, the reason this works so well is because process is the lever that you can pull today. It is going to be appropriately challenging and not so far into the future that it isn't reinforcing. The reason I feel like process goals are so rewarding and so reinforcing is because you focus on completing an action right now. You focus on hitting so many meals in a day. You focus on hitting so many repetitions. And when you do that, you are immediately rewarded for that thing. So, for example, I'm going to hit upper, lower, and a total body this week. This week, as far as my nutrition goes, I'm going to hit protein at each meal. And if I'm out eating with my family, I'm going to get no less than 2 palmfuls of protein, and I'm going to make sure to get 2 fistfuls of veggies. Additionally, you can build in if-then plans that are also process goals. So things like, if it's 5 p.m., then I'm driving straight to the gym. Or when I wake up, I'm going to put on my shoes and then head downstairs to the gym. Anything like that. So if-then plans are really, really helpful. And here's another pro tip: write a minimum viable goal for the day. So let's say your alarm doesn't go off you need to have in your back pocket a minimum viable goal of I'm going to train for 10 to 15 minutes if I wake up late. This way, you don't have to skip an entire workout or feel like you have missed something, and you can actually get something done. You can get a lot accomplished in 10 or 15 minutes if you hit some supersets. Is it perfect? No, but it allows you to keep the streak alive. Number 4 type of goal, probably the most positive goal, these are values and identity-based goals. So if you are familiar with Atomic Habits, you know that the structure that he lays out in this book is habits, systems, and identity. And this is a somewhat similar structure. So for me, identity goals and value goals are very, very similar. So identity is who you are becoming, who you want to become. So instead of saying that you're going to lift 4 days a week, you can focus on, I am the type of person who lifts 4 days a week. I am the type of person who eats 3 to 4 meals a day with protein at each meal. You can take these things that were once goals and begin ingraining them into your identity and aligning them with your values, which make them infinitely more powerful and less likely to break. And part of the reason that this is going to stick is that when you make your values and your identity explicit, you're not forcing yourself. And you are acting like the you that you want to be. And eventually, if you do this consistently enough and you are living these values day to day, people will see you live these values. You will see them see you live these values, and it will eventually become who you are. And at the end of all that, you no longer have to think about quite a few of these things. For me, I no longer have to think about how to get my protein in a day. I no longer have to think that I am going to get 3 to 4 meals in a day. I no longer have to think about my programming, whether or not I'm going to lift 3 to 5 times in a week. It is literally who I am at this point in my life, regardless of the other things that I do. These things are mandatory lifts for me. Some people have mindfulness practice. I'd like to say that I do. I currently practice some, but it is not as ingrained as my lifting. It's not as a part of my identity as my lifting. So, by identifying your values and aligning what you do with your identity, your autopilot will eventually facilitate your ends because it's who you are. And the last and not so helpful type of goal is going to be your emotional goal. Now, emotional goals are not helpful because a lot of our emotions are out of our control. Now, I want you to turn your thoughts inward for a second and ask yourselves, how many times have you tried to set an emotional goal? An emotional goal is, I want to feel better. I want to get rid of my anxiety. I want to get rid of my worry. I want to get rid of my fear. I want to get rid of X, Y, and Z emotion or feeling. Now, as I said before, these are not helpful because a lot of those emotions come and go. They're like waves. You can't really control when they show up, how long they show up, how intense they are, but you can ride them out until they leave. Similarly, when you set these emotional goals, it's just like if you could imagine, if I told you to leave exactly where you were at right now, and the next person you saw, I want you to fall in love with them. Now, aside from them being your actual spouse or whatever, you can't just turn feelings on like that. However, these other types of goals, developing systems, identity, values-based, process-based goals, all of those things are in your control, and you don't rely on the way you feel. When we rely on the way we feel, things just don't get done. Motivation comes after action, not the other way around. So, the fifth type of goal, emotional goals, is going to be detrimental to where you want to be. All right, and last pro tip for the day, you're going to want to fix the type of language and the type of self-talk that you're using whenever you slip up. So shifting from avoidance phrasing, so saying things like stop missing workouts, or you are beating it in your head, stop missing workouts, start shifting to approach language and say to yourself, hit 3 workouts this week. That is going to be infinitely more motivating and more reinforcing than punishing yourself by just focusing on the negative. So last tip there. So guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope if you like this, you will like some of the other videos on the channel. And if you did, please hit subscribe. And I'll see you in the next episode for something bodybuilding or bodybuilding and psychology related.